Kevin Williams, another sack, back at the 2. Kevin Williams coming up big for the injured Vincent Valentine here tonight. Straight shotgun as Amir shifts off to the right. Stretch play. Tommy keeps it himself, 15-10, hurdles a man down to the 1-yard line.
What a play by Tommy Armstrong. He leaped over a man at the end.
Greetings, Wildcat fans. I'm Bob.
I'm Larry. This is Catnips, which had a week off last week because of the bye week.
Come on, you lazy bastard.
And this is week 10 of the college football season. And Northwestern season is now at a precarious point. The Cats are 2-2 in college play after their 38-17 homecoming loss to Nebraska.
Well, that was a rough loss, Larry. I think you have to go back at least a dozen years, if not more, to find a half where the Wildcats offense comes out and the wheels just completely come off the bus the way they did. And it was really a shame to see that happen in front of a sold-out house, homecoming crowd. But, you know, that's Big Ten football. These things are going to happen. What matters is Cats have a big challenge here, and how are they going to respond?
Right, and they did look good for the first half. They were able to hang with Nebraska. We weren't going to give any kind of awards this week. Typically, we don't after a loss, but we did decide that for this week, we would still award the Purple Fist of Justice, or at least half a fist, depending on how you want to look at it. And we decided this week, once again, we would award it to Fist favorite Justin Jackson. Justin Jackson had 128 yards during the game on 22 carries and 2 touchdowns.
Yep, that was a great first half. So, Justin, you get a half fist.
Okay, it's time for a brand new feature on Catnips.
Hooray for new math, new math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it.
Okay, so bowl math. Actually, my math is pretty simple. Cats have to win 3 games. They have 5 games remaining, so that means they've got to win 3 out of the next 5. But in reality, they're not going to have much of a chance against Notre Dame, so they've got to win 3 out of the next 4 to get to 6 wins and bowl qualify. Last 2 games are against Purdue and Illinois. Not necessarily gimmies after what's happened in the past couple of weeks.
'Cause 2 out of 3
But more importantly, the next 2 games are against Iowa and Michigan. And it's really critical that the Cats have to win 1 of those games. Ideally, they'd like to win 2, so they've got a little bit of margin for error. Now, Larry, I'm just doing simple math. You're doing that more newfangled new math with the computers and everything on your hailtopurple.com website. You're always coming up with probabilities. How do you see it today?
Call it. Call it, yes. For a whole lot. Just call it.
So in addition to what you had talked about, there is the slight chance that Northwestern can make it to a bowl with 5 wins. That has to be factored in. There's a little bit of a buffer there as well. We had, after the Nebraska game, the probability of making it to a bowl at 40%. We said that we would update that after the Iowa game. Actually, after the bye week, that actually went down a little bit. It went from 40% down to 38%, and that's because of Illinois' victory over Minnesota. So in some ways, we actually lost the bye week. The probability went down a little bit because of that, because of the fact that now Illinois is a player, and that game might be a little bit tougher putt than we had thought it would be before.
So what's it going to take for us to get back those 2 points we lost it by? We're going to have to win against Iowa?
Yeah, we're going to have to go for 2 a number of times against Iowa.
Okay.
So let's hope that the team comes out of the pink locker room a little bit more fired up this time. So speaking of the pink locker rooms, they are currently being prepped as we speak.
Next, Larry, we've got to go out to Iowa City, Kinnick Stadium, and, well, you know what they say about Kinnick Stadium.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
So, what's your take on this game, Larry?
Well, Bob, we've had a fairly evenly matched series in Iowa City for the last number of years. And I think both fan bases for both schools are expecting this to be a very close game. Both Iowa fans and Northwestern fans are expecting that, whichever team makes the fewest mistakes is probably going to come away the winner of this one. So, you could say that about any game, but probably this one more than any is going to depend on turnovers. It's going to depend on penalties. It's going to depend on who makes the fewest mistakes during the game. It's going to be pretty close.
Well, what I find interesting is that we're always playing at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. It's like the Big Ten schedule makers have sort of permanently moved us there. It's our second home. Cat fans make a big deal about the fact that we won 3 games in a row there, and yes, we did, but you know what? That was in the last decade. We have not beaten Iowa in Iowa since 2009. Mike Kafka was the starting quarterback. So I think it's about high time that we got out there and won a game. I think you're right about execution. The team that executes the best wins this game, and that Iowa program is really built around execution. They don't do a lot of fancy things. They don't have a lot of stars.
I'm not hygienic. I don't wipe properly. I lack style.
They're going to beat you with superior execution. We'll see some familiar faces. Mark Weisman is their workhorse in the running game. But you know what? Iowa's just going to smash mouth, pound, pound, pound. And Cats are going to have some answers. The defense is going to have to play a very, very disciplined game if they're going to out-execute a good Iowa team at execution on offense. The Cats' offense is going to have to be a lot more versatile than they were in the second half against Nebraska, and they ultimately have to have an answer to a stacked box and man coverage. Lastly, I think if there are any special teams gaffes, the Hawkeyes are going to punish the Wildcats horribly for those. So Cats have to show up, not necessarily the flashiest game plan, but they've got to be solid in execution. And let's hope with some people coming back and 2 weeks off to get ready, they look a little bit better than they did against Nebraska. So what do you say, Larry? Is it time for potables?
Bob, I think it's time for potables. What do we have this week?
This week, we have genuine Polka King Porter.
For the Polka capital, I take it.
Indeed.
It promises to be lots of fun.
And in heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here.
Thoughts?
This beer tastes kind of musty. It's got a lot of musts around it. The Hawkeyes must win this game in order to control their destiny in their chase for the Big Ten West Championship. And the Cats must win this game if they're going to bowl qualify. Now, otherwise, those chances are just starting to shrink. So, I'm going to say the Cats, embarrassed by what they did at homecoming, are going to show up, and for the first time since 2009, they're going to win at Kinnick Stadium. I'm going to say this is close. I'm going to say that Iowa makes one more mistake than we do, and that costs them the game. And I'm going to see this one relatively low scoring, let's say 23 Cats, 20 Iowa.
Gotcha. I think Polka King is it's pretty filling. Has a lot of empty calories, and Iowa has also been filling up on cupcakes, getting up to the point where they're almost bowl eligible. This is going to be a tough game for them. It's going to be a tough game for us. I think it's 24-20, and I don't know who has 24. I don't know who has 20. It's going to totally depend on how fired up our team is and how well they play, how mistake-free they play, and let's hope they're on the 24 end of the 24-20 prediction.
So it's going to come down to execution. let's hope that they drink more Polka King than we do after it's all over. That's it for this week's edition of Catnips. We hope to see you again real soon. And as always, go Cats!